You work a full-time job, you pay your mortgage, your car note, your kids' school fees, you send money to your parents every month because someone has to. You've survived a dot-com crash, a housing collapse, and a recession that wiped out nearly half of everything you built. And after all of that, you still feel broke. Not because you're careless, not because you didn't try, but because the system you were handed was designed to fail you before you ever got a real chance to play. This is the story of Generation X, the most financially betrayed generation in modern American history, and almost nobody is talking about it. Your relationship with money didn't begin with your first paycheck. It began in an empty house at 3:30 in the afternoon with a key under the mat. You were what they called a latchkey kid. Both your parents were working, and while other kids came home to a warm kitchen and a conversation, you came home to a quiet house and a decision to make on your own. That experience wired something into you, because what those empty afternoons taught you at age 9, 10, 11 was census was this. You figure it out yourself. No one is coming. You handle it. That became your identity, your survival skill, and your biggest financial blind spot, because your parents never talked to you about money either. Not because they didn't care, but because their parents survived the Great Depression, where talking about money was considered shameful. That silence passed through the generations, and it landed on you. More than 56% of Gen Xers say their family never or rarely discussed finances growing up. So you entered adulthood with two broken tools: a hyper-independence that kept you from ever asking for help, and a silence so deep you didn't even know what questions to ask. That's not a character flaw. That's a wiring problem, installed before you were old enough to know it happened. When you stepped into the workforce in the late 80s and 90s, something massive was shifting beneath your feet, and no one told you. For decades before you, American workers had pensions. Your employer made a promise: show up, work hard, give us 30 years, and when you retire, we will take care of you. It was a guarantee, a floor beneath your feet. Then came the 401k. Think of it this way: a pension is a company cafeteria. You show up, sit down, your meal is already prepared. A 401k is someone handing you raw ingredients, pointing at a kitchen you've never been in with no recipe, no training, and saying, "Good luck." Gen X was the generation this switch happened to, mid-stride. Only 14% of Gen Xers have a traditional pension today. Compare that to 44% of baby boomers. That's not just a number. That's a transfer of financial risk from corporations who used to carry it directly onto your shoulders. And it happened the moment you entered the game. Automatic enrollment didn't exist yet. Target date funds didn't exist yet. Back in the mid-90s, only 55% of employees were even participating in any retirement plan. Pensions were fading, but a reliable replacement wasn't in place yet. You stepped into a financial vacuum, handed the responsibility with no roadmap and no one who had done it before, because no one had. Now think about the timeline. You entered the workforce and faced the stock market crash of 1987. You recovered, built something, kept going. Then the dot-com bubble of 2000 erased a decade of optimism overnight. You adapted, started again. Then came 2008, and this one hit different because by then you had bought a house. Gen Xers made up 75% of people who bought homes in 2000 and beyond, right at the peak of the bubble. You paid top prices. You believed in what you were building. And by 2010, you had lost 45% of your wealth. Not a dip, not a setback, 45% gone. And every one of those crashes hit you at a critical financial milestone. 1987, your first real job. 2000, your first real investments. 2008, your home, your equity, your peak earning years. No generation alive was hit like this, at these moments, in this sequence. And most of you kept going anyway. Picture this. You're in your mid-40s. You've got a teenager at home. You've got a parent in their 70s who quietly admitted to you they didn't plan on living this long. So you're writing two checks this month. One to your kid's future, one to your parents' present, and the one you're not writing, the one for your own retirement, gets pushed to next month. Again, this isn't a story. This is data. 54% of Gen Xers are currently in this exact position, supporting a parent over 65 while also raising or financially supporting a child, the highest rate of any generation ever recorded. And more than 57% of those caregivers say they've had to choose between advancing their career and caring for their aging parents. Missed promotion, reduced hours, years out of the workforce, all of it happening during the exact window that was supposed to close the retirement gap. Your peak earning years being spent holding up two generations at once. Here is the number that defines where Gen X stands right now. Gen Xers say they need, on average, $1.56 million to retire comfortably. The average Gen Xer has saved $109,000, and 40% have saved nothing at all in any private retirement account. Nothing. In 2024, a major investment firm surveyed Gen Xers about their retirement outlook. 48% said it would take a miracle to retire securely. Not a plan, not discipline, not hard work, a miracle. That shift from planning to hoping is one of the most significant financial changes happening in America right now. And it's happening in your generation, quietly, right now. But here's what the data doesn't say, and this matters. Research has acknowledged this directly. Studies that show Gen X facing a bleak retirement don't account for this generation's ingenuity and self-reliance. That is a real gap in how the numbers measure you, because you are the generation that taught yourself to cook at 9, that survived 3 market crashes and rebuilt every single time, that is right now holding up 2 generations while still showing up to work every single day. You are not behind because you failed. The finish line moved, and recognizing that, really sitting with that truth, is not an excuse to stop. It is the first honest look at what you are actually up against. The ingenuity that kept you alive in that empty house, it's still in you. Use it. If this hits something in you, if you heard something here you've never heard said out loud, share it with someone in your life who needed to hear it. Because Gen X has been the forgotten middle child of finance long enough. Drop your thoughts in the comments.